Welcome back to the Just Grill and Outdoor Living channel. I'm Sam. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make some of the most incredible baby back ribs in 3 hours time. If you're new to barbecue, maybe you just got your first pellet grill, or you're looking for ways to make tasty ribs in a rather short amount of time, you found the right video. Now, working for Just Grillin' Outdoor Living affords me the valuable opportunity to talk with a wide variety of people that share their different cooking methods with me. A popular method that people use for making ribs is the 3-2-1 method. Now, I've done this a handful of times myself and have never found it to be that advantageous for the length of time it takes to make the ribs. Now, for those of you not familiar with the 3-2-1 method, I'm gonna let you look that up for yourself, but in short, the ribs take 6 hours to cook. Now, for that time investment and the results you get, I'm just not a fan. In this video, I'm cooking on the Weber Searwood XL Pellet Grill, but you can do this on any pellet grill, gas grill, or charcoal grill. The same principles apply. Many of the products I'm gonna use in the video are going to be linked in the description, or if you're local to us, you can find them in our Tampa, Florida showroom. So if you are in the Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota area, come see us in store. We'll be glad to help you with everything from a new grill to the right seasoning, no matter what type of cook you're doing. As a small business, your support is very crucial for us to continue making great videos like this. If you're local to us, please do come see us in our showroom. Now, if you aren't local to us and this video helps you, we do have an online store where you can find all of these products in this video and many others. You can also purchase a super thanks for a few dollars if you find this video helpful. It really does help us continue to make great videos like this, and it's something we truly appreciate for those of you out there that do purchase a super thanks. Now, the key to any good cook is proper planning, so let's head inside and get geared up for this 3-hour rib cook. What you're looking at is all of the tools I'm going to use for this cook. Every tool here has a specific purpose to make this an easy, effortless cook. Let me explain why I'm using what you see here. I'm going to use this raised rim aluminum tray with wire rack for a lot of different cooks. It's particularly helpful for rib cooks because it keeps my grill clean and makes it easy to move the ribs in and out of the grill as needed. Next up, a quality instant read thermometer is an absolute must. While you don't need two, I'm showing you the two instant reads I keep on hand at home. Both the Fireboard Spark and the ThermoWorks ThermaPen 1 are great units. They give an insanely fast reading in 1 second. You can't go wrong with either, but you only need one. Butcher paper is another great tool to have on hand for making ribs. This specialty type of paper works better than foil when wrapping smoked foods. Butcher paper and foil both insulate your food. The difference is butcher paper allows steam to escape. Foil does not, so it softens your bark on foods. We are going to need foil for this cook. It might not just be what you think it's for though. I'm going to use it to help to make as little of a mess during my prep as possible. This is one of the few things we don't sell, but I do recommend this heavy duty foil from Reynolds Wrap. We're also going to need a spray bottle. This is going to help us spritz the ribs and help make the butcher paper more pliable. This flexible fillet knife from Wusthof is useful for the little bit of trimming that we're going to do. It's also a good size to slice the ribs once done. The blade is sharp and resharpens very well when needed. The next tool is pretty trivial and something everyone owns for sure. You don't need it, or maybe you use something different in this case. I'm going to use the back end of this spoon to help lift the membrane to remove that from the underside of the ribs. You might use something else, but I find this to be most helpful. These extra large powder-free nitrile gloves come in clutch. These gloves make it easier for me not to touch the raw food with my hands, and it keeps them clean throughout everything that I'm doing. The gloves fit great and are very comfortable. A good set of high heat gloves is also important too. These are needed to pick up the tray that I showed you just a little bit earlier and move it between the grill and kitchen. I use these for a variety of things, but they get used at least 5 times a week no matter what, so if you don't own any, I recommend getting some. We're also going to need a basting brush. These high heat silicone ones that we have in store are really nice. They come in a few different colors. This is going to be good for saucing the ribs at the end of the cook. Now let's take a look at what we're going to use to create these incredible flavors for these baby back ribs. I'm going to make 2 styles of ribs because you can do this at home too. The cooking method is exactly the same. This is what I would call my sweet heat combo, and when I say heat, I mean more so as zest. The garlic jalapeno from Heath Riles is one of my personal favorite seasonings. It's not nearly as spicy as the name implies, and trust me, I'm a wimp when it comes to things that are even medium heat. The hot rub from Killer Hogs doesn't have much heat to it either. This is more so for a nice mahogany color on the ribs. They make this same rub in a non-hot version, so you can sub that out if you want to. And for the sauce, we're going to use this sweet apple cherry sauce. We get the heat from the seasonings and the sweetness from the sauce. The other combo that we're going to use for flavors for ribs is my version of sweet and sticky ribs. We're using a base layer of salt, pepper, and garlic, and then layering a tasty butter pecan seasoning on top. When we sauce the ribs, we're going to use maple syrup, which gives us a maple butter pecan flavor. It's incredibly tasty. As for the type of pork that you want to purchase, it does make a difference in the flavor. Pork isn't grated like beef, so don't let something like this, what's on this packaging for the ribs I'm using, fool you. The prime word means nothing in this instance. The key thing is to try ribs from a few different stores and vendors and see what you like best. If you have access to the Prairie Fresh brand, that's one I really like and typically do use. Now let's get to the ribs. First thing we want to do is prep our prep space with foil to help keep it clean. I'm going to use 2 sheets because I have 3 racks of ribs in total. Once I got the foil laid out, I'm going to pull the ribs out of the fridge and get them out of the packaging. Where I purchased these ribs, they're sold in cryo vacuum sealed packs that are 3 packs of ribs, so I'm just going to make all 3 rather than having to get my vacuum sealer out and reseal one of these and then put it in the freezer because I'm going to lose some of the quality. So that's why we're also doing 2 different styles of ribs in this video. Now with the ribs out, we're going to turn them all over so the underside with the membrane is face up towards us. Now using a paper towel to pat the underside dry, this is going to be really important because the ribs are super slick if you don't do this, and it's going to make it tough to peel out the membrane. Now to peel the membrane out, I like to use the back side of the spoon, as I mentioned earlier, and just gently work its way under the membrane. Usually I like to find a starting point roughly around the middle of the rack in between 2 bones. Once I get the back end underneath enough and work it back and forth enough, I can start to use my finger to finish peeling across the rack. And then once I've done that, I can slowly start to peel from both sides with even pressure. There's no need to rush this, just go slow so it pulls up without tearing because it makes it a little bit harder if it does tear along the way. I like to work my way from the middle out because it just makes it easier. This next step is optional, but I do like to trim a little bit of the fat off of the ribs. We're not going to get crazy with it, just some of the areas where there's a little bit excess fat, we're just going to lightly trim that off. We're not going to gouge the meat, anything of that sort, so just lightly trim them. With the membrane off, now we can start seasoning the ribs. Remember, we're doing 2 different flavor combos. For our sweet heat combo, I'm going to start with a base layer of the garlic jalapeno seasoning. I like to get a decent amount, but not too much, because we still need to top this with another seasoning. Now, depending on if you're in a rush or not, you could use a binder like yellow mustard to smother the ribs and then season it. It just helps the seasoning stick faster so you can get the ribs on the grill sooner. I planned ahead, so I'm gonna let the seasoning sweat in. Coming back through now with the hot rub, we're only seasoning the underside right now. We're not doing anything with the top side. Moving on to our other flavor combo, we're gonna start with that base layer of salt, pepper, garlic. This seasoning is a little more coarse, so I won't use nearly as much of this as maybe I did with the garlic jalapeno. And then I'm gonna come back through with the butter pecan seasoning. Now we're gonna let these seasonings sweat in on the underside for about 15 to 20 minutes before I flip them over and do the same thing to season the top side. What I mean by sweat in is you'll start to see liquid pool and better adhesion of the seasoning. It's gonna vary, but we'll have somewhat of a look like this. The more seasoning you use, the longer it can take. It's not always gonna be perfect, but for what you see here on the screen, this is good enough to flip it over without loosening the seasoning on the underside. Now we're just gonna repeat that layering process for the top side and let those sweat in as well. While that's happening, we're gonna start the grill. I'm gonna set the pellet grill to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't take this particular grill very long to get to temperature, so that's why I can do it this late in the prep. I'm gonna be using a pellet blend that is hickory, maple, and cherry. All three of those flavors are great on their own for anything pork, and they create a great flavor when used in conjunction together. If your grill takes longer or needs more time to stabilize in temperature, start it however far out you feel best. I'm just starting it up now to conserve fuel as best fit, but you're gonna know your grill at home best. With the grill started, let's prep our rib trays. Before putting the ribs on the wire rack, we want to line the tray with foil. Again, this is going to help with cleanup at the end. Now we just simply add the rack and then load up the ribs with the top side facing up. Once the grill is stabilized at 275 degrees, not when it first hits 275, stabilize. So you need to give your grill at least 10 to 15 minutes. Again, this goes back to you're going to know your grill best, so you're gonna know when's the best time to start it, as well as once you feel comfortable that your grill is gonna hold that temperature. Once we put the ribs on, we're gonna let these go uncovered, top side facing up for 2 hours. Both trays aren't gonna fit on the lower rack inside of this grill, so rather than slightly stacking them on top of each other, I'm just gonna put one of the trays on the lower grate and one of them on the top grate. There's not a massive difference in the temperature between the top and bottom grate on this particular grill. I've tested that in other videos, so if you haven't seen that and you're watching this and are interested in the Weber Searwood, make sure you go check out that video after this. The top might take a little bit longer than the racks on the bottom, but that's okay because I know this going into the cook. Plus the ribs up top are a little bit bigger and a little beefier, so that plays a factor too. During these 2 hours, we're gonna spritz the ribs every half hour with apple juice. You are welcome to do this every 15 to 20 minutes if you want. I think 4 times is enough since I don't like to keep constantly opening the grill lid, and I also don't want to constantly be out at the grill necessarily. When it's time to spritz, just give the ribs a solid coating. No need to overly soak them, just spritz across one way and then work your way back the other. That's usually good enough. After 2 hours on the grill, it's time to pull the ribs and wrap them. Once you pull the ribs, but before you start wrapping, you want to go ahead and bump your grill up to 325 degrees. This is the temperature we're going to cook them at for the remainder of the cook, which is only 1 more hour roughly. For wrapping, we're going to use butcher paper. Again, I talked about the benefits of the butcher paper compared to foil at the beginning, but if you don't have butcher paper, then you most certainly can use foil. It might just help the ribs cook a little bit faster and they're just going to be a little bit softer on the outside. But if you're doing everything that I say and plan ahead, you're going to pick up butcher paper ahead of time and you don't have to worry about using foil at this part. To help make the butcher paper more pliable and easier to wrap, you want to spritz it with the same apple juice that we were using to spritz the ribs. We're going to start with our sweet heat ribs. We're going to lay down some butter and sprinkle in more of the hot seasoning. Now we're going to lay the top side face down and then add a little butter to the underside. But I'm not going to season anymore on the underside. I don't feel that that's needed. Now they're good to wrap up. You can do this however you feel best. The way I'm showing you on the screen usually leaks the least amount of liquid and lets me open and rewrap the ribs towards the end of the cook when I start to check the internal temperature with the instant read thermometer. For our sweet and sticky ribs, we're going to start out the same way by spritzing the butcher paper. Now we're going to lay down our butter, but rather than a seasoning, we're going to pour maple syrup in the wrap. Some people will use honey and brown sugar at this part. Maple syrup essentially is a very sweet and sugary sauce and liquid, so that's why we're using that, hence the sweet and sticky. Lay the ribs face down and then repeat for the underside, that's face up. This time we are going to pour the maple syrup on the underside. We're going to take these back to the grill for about another hour. Once 3 hours is up, it's time to check the internal temperature of the ribs. We're looking for anything from 201 to 203 degrees Fahrenheit internally. Our sweet heat ribs are temping at 202 and 203, so it's definitely time to pull those. Our sweet and sticky ribs are about 10 degrees internally behind our sweet heat, so we're gonna let these keep cooking for about another 20 minutes, and then we're gonna check them. While our sweet and sticky ribs continue to cook, let's take the sweet heat slabs inside to sauce. To sauce the ribs, we want to take the ribs out of the butcher paper and put them top side face up, back on the wire rack. First, I'm going to lay a piece of foil on the counter, so that way we don't make a mess, and then transfer the butcher paper with ribs there first to unwrap. Then we simply just transfer them back to the wire rack and get ready to sauce. Saucing them is really easy. We're just going to pour the sauce on, preferably the sauce is already warm, and then lightly brush it around for good surface coverage. We're using the apple cherry sauce for the sweet heat. We're going to take these back to the grill for another 10 to 15 minutes uncovered to let the sauce tack on better. The sweet and sticky ribs took about 3 hours and 20 minutes to finish, so about 20 minutes longer than the sweet heat ribs. We're saucing this slab with maple syrup and putting it back on the smoker for another 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, it's time to pull and get ready to enjoy these ribs. We want to give them about 5 minutes to cool off before slicing. We're going to use the same knife that we use for trimming to slice these, so make sure you wash the knife sometime before this point so it's ready to use again. When it's time to slice, we're going to flip the ribs over so it's easy to see where to slice between the bones. Our sweet heat ribs came out amazing. They have a beautiful color to them. They have an amazing smoke ring. They are juicy. We have the right tenderness. And the right tenderness means that the meat doesn't just fall off the bone, but cleanly and easily tears away when you bite into them. You can see how easily one bone cleaned up and another rib with a clean bite in it. The flavor is sweet and has a nice mild back end heat to it. I would have no problem serving these to a crowd. Even people that don't like spicy foods, I don't think would mind this. Our sweet and sticky ribs have a really nice color as well. Slicing into these, the appearance and tenderness is right on par with the sweet heat slabs. The maple butter pecan flavor really stands out and is truly unique. And after enjoying these delicious ribs comes the worst part of the entire cook, or any cook for that matter, cleanup. But cleaning up these trays is going to be relatively easy because we line them with foil. If you follow everything I've covered in this video, you're on your way to making some of the most insanely tasty ribs in about 3 hours time. If you have any questions on anything I did throughout these cooks or the Searwood Pellet Grill, leave it in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer that for you. Links for all of the products used are in the description. You can come visit us in-store in our Tampa, Florida showroom or shop online. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel too. Those things are free to do and they help support us. You can also purchase a super thanks for a few bucks. Learning how to cook something better is such an invaluable skill, so please show your gratitude for this if you learned something with a super thanks. It helps us continue to make great videos like this and grow the channel. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to catch us on our next video.